Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into our time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
An episode of radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense, starring song and dance man and dramatic actor Dan Dailey. This episode of Suspense from April 13th, 1950, and the story entitled 6 Feet Under.
Suspense. Autolite and its 96,000 dealers present Mr. Dan Dailey in 6 Feet Under, a suspense play produced and edited by William Spear. And now, with 6 Feet Under and the performance of Dan Dailey, Autolite hopes once again to keep you in suspense.
You'll never know what it's like down there. You're 6 feet under 10 hours a day without food or water, with that light on your face so the yokels can pay their dimes and stare down at you. It's like being dead, only you know what's going on. The pump that feeds the air down to you seems to be keeping time with your heartbeat, and you can't help thinking that if it ever stops, the heartbeat will stop with it. You get a lot of time to think down there, to think of all the things that can happen. And when the show closes for the night and they dig you up, you head for the nearest bar to forget all the crazy things you've been thinking.
Hey, what'll it be?
Double whiskey beer chaser.
Hey, you with the carnival?
Yeah.
Must be interesting. What do you do?
Got a sideshow. Fill us up, will you?
Sure. What's your trick, sword swallower?
Now I roll over and play dead.
Oh, you're the guy that's buried alive. Yeah, I saw you this afternoon at the matinee. Took the kids over.
Yeah? What are you raising, a couple of undertakers?
Oh, I didn't take them into your tent. Seemed kind of a morbid thing for kids.
But not for you.
What do you mean?
Skip it. How about hitting this glass again?
Okay. Now, the people see that act of yours. Tent was crowded. I kind of thought it'd be different.
How different?
Well, paying a dime a head just to look down at you through that glass. It's not a bad racket you got there.
Yeah, big, fat, happy racket. Not tough like standing behind a bar and breathing and eating and moving whenever you want to. Well, if you think it's so hot, dig yourself a hole and pull up a coffin. Nobody's stopping you.
You want another drink, call me.
Just leave the bottle. I'm still alive. I can pour my own.
Suit yourself, friend.
They were all the same. They paid a dime to look at you down there. But if they saw you later above the ground, they acted like you were cheating them. Like you owed it to them to stay buried or they want you in their money's worth. I used to do another act. A juggling act. An act that took me years of sweat and practice to learn. But nobody came to see that. You had to learn a dog's trick to make a living. You had to trust people. People you wondered about.
Hello, Jack.
Get
looking for you.
Come on, get lost, Cliff. Don't follow me around.
Miriam sent me out to find you.
She knows where I am 10 hours a day. That's more than most wives know.
Miriam was my wife. I'd spend a little time with her.
You spend quite a little time with her as it is, Cliff. Quite a little time.
Oh, you're talking through that bottle, Jack. Miriam and I are old friends.
Yeah, I heard about it lots of times. You were a stage door Johnny when she worked on burlesque, weren't you? I used to laugh about you. That was before you came to work for us, but now I don't laugh anymore, Cliff. Now I wonder.
You're drunk.
Am I? What's a guy like you doing around a carnival, Cliff? You were a big-shot accountant with a good business. And all of a sudden you chuck everything to learn to be a barker for a pitch like mine and to dig me out of that hole every night.
I'm not complaining. Why should you?
Because I figure you gotta have a reason, Cliff. I figure that maybe some night you're gonna forget to dig.
Oh, you're being ridiculous, Jack.
Sure. Only you still haven't told me why you joined the show, Cliff.
That's my business.
Well, never mind, I'll tell you. Because you're in love with Miriam and it's killing you to see her married to me.
All right, Jack, that's part of it. Sure, I love Miriam, but that isn't what's killing me. A bad heart is the thing that's killing me.
What do you mean?
I chucked my business and joined the show because I've only got about a year to live. Miriam is the only thing in the world I care about, and I wanted to be near her.
That's a very touching story, pal. What am I supposed to do, break down and cry?
Jack, I'd do anything to see Miriam happy. And if it meant killing you, I could do it without batting an eye, because I've got nothing to lose. I want you to know that.
That's good, Cliff. Now we understand each other. Have a drink.
I don't want one.
Oh, well, this ain't just an ordinary drink, Cliff. This is a toast to one of us. To the guy who buries the other one. For good. It was a fool thing to do. A mistake. Because he'd play his cards closer now. If I told him to pack up and get out, he might take Miriam with him. And I was crazy about Miriam. Something was wrong between us, but I was still crazy about her. I had to know I had to wait and find out if he could take her from me. And that meant I had to keep him around. And every day he'd have me helpless down there in that hole like a baby. I didn't want to drink anymore. I went back to the tent and tried to sleep, but I kept having that same dream over and over again. Not a picture dream, but a dream in sound. The sound of that air pump that kept me alive down there. It got slower and slower, and then it stopped. And I woke up choking. I jumped out of bed.
Jack!
Yeah.
Jack, is that you?
Yeah, Miriam. You go back to sleep.
Is something wrong, dear?
Oh, I had a dream, that's all. Go back to sleep.
Oh, well, maybe if I may just...
I don't want any hot milk. I'm going out for a while.
Jack, I hope you're not...
Where would I get it this time of night? I'm not going to drink, so save the lecture.
Well, you don't have to snap at me like that. That's all you've been doing lately.
Have I? Well, nobody's died from it so far.
I don't get you at all.
Don't you? Well, maybe you're not trying hard enough. I'm going for a walk.
Jack! Jack!
I walked around the grounds. The moon was doing trick things with the shadows around the tents and the pitch signs along the midway. I loved it. A cheap two-bit carnival, but I loved it. When Miriam and I were first married, I used to dream about owning the works someday. Yeah, I was going to do big things. Clean up with a juggling act, then write the Becker brothers and offer to buy them out. The Ferris wheel, the rides, the whole show. I was going to own the world. But instead, I wound up with 6 feet of it. They could dig me up out of that hole every night, but I couldn't dig my dreams up anymore. Finally, I went back to my own tent and slept until showtime. Miriam was gone when I woke up, so I walked over to our pitch. I was going to pull the flap and go in, but then I heard her talking to Cliff, so I listened.
Again last night. I hate it when he's like that. I can't stand it much longer.
You won't have to stand it after tomorrow night. You'll be away from here. Things will be different.
You're sure you want to do this for me, Cliff?
I want you to be happy.
He suspects something. I know him. If he finds out...
He won't find out. Not until tomorrow night. And when he does, it'll be too late. He won't be able to do anything about it.
You love your wife and you stand outside a tent and hear her planning to murder you. It wasn't only Cliff. It was her, too. And I knew right then what I had to do. I had to kill them. I had to kill the both of them. And tonight, right away.
Autolite is bringing you Dan Dailey in 6 Feet Under. Tonight's production in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
April 13th, 1950, Suspense on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Hi, this is Kyle Horvath with the White Pine County Tourism and Recreation Board. If you want to get away from the big cities and get back to nature this summer, give us a call at 775-289-3720 or visit us online at elinevada.net. There's so much to do and see I can't mention it in 30 seconds, but check out our website and you'll see what Nevada is really all about. elinevada.net or follow us on Facebook or Instagram. Give us a call at 775-289-3720 or visit us online at elinevada.net.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MediShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save the typical family $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The customer satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. Medishare works. It's been around for more than a quarter century, and members have shared more than $3 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE. 833-34-BIBLE.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, more of Suspense, April 13th, 1950.
And now Autolite brings back to our Hollywood soundstage our star, Dan Dailey, in 6 Feet Under, a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Now I knew. It wasn't only Cliff, it was Miriam, too. It was like getting hit in the stomach when you didn't expect it. You love your wife and you stand outside a tent and hear her planning to murder you. I walked around the grounds in a daze. I tried to tell myself that I was wrong, but your own ears can't lie to you.
Hey, Jack!
Oh, hello, Bonnie.
Hey, I've been screaming my head off at you. You hypnotized or something?
Sorry, Bonnie, I was thinking.
Oh, call for Cliff on the phone in the office wagon. You want to take it for him?
All right. Hello?
This is Morton at Trans-Country Airlines. I have your reservations confirmed.
Oh, good.
2 seats on the midnight plane to Chicago tomorrow night.
Thanks a lot.
I know you said you'd come in to pick up the tickets this afternoon, but I wanted to call and let you know it's confirmed.
I'm glad you did. You'll never know how glad.
It's just part of our service, sir. I'll hold the tickets for you.
No, you've gone to enough trouble. You can cancel the tickets.
But I thought
I'm changing somebody's mind. Nobody's going to Chicago tomorrow night. Nobody. When you see something coming and you know it's too late to stop it, you get calm. You watch it like it was happening to somebody else. I had to kill them. I had to kill the both of them. Tonight after the show. After they brought me up. I'd have 10 hours down there to think of a way. I went into the tent and watched Cliff getting the hole ready for me. I wanted to laugh.
Is this all right now?
Yeah, that's deep enough. Cliff, I want that speaking tube hooked up today.
Oh, what's the matter? Getting lonesome down there? I thought you didn't like to talk to the customers.
Today I feel sociable. I had a glimpse into the bright and cheery future. Hook it up.
You're the boss.
Where's Miriam?
Getting a new roll of tickets from the wagon.
When there's a crowd out there on the Midway Cliff, Calliope going on the merry-go-round and all, can she hear my buzzer?
Well, why wouldn't she? It's hooked up right from the box to the ticket cage. But you never use it, so what difference does it make?
It could make a big difference if nobody was in the tent and the air shut off on me. A big difference. Let's check it.
All right, there's a button in the box. Press it. Counter's just outside the flap. We can hear it from here. Are you pressing it?
You see me, don't you, Cliff?
I don't hear anything out there.
Neither do I.
It must be a loose wire or something.
No, Cliff. It's the batteries. Because I checked while you were digging and the batteries are gone.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. When we were moving from the last town, my flashlight went dead. I borrowed the buzzer battery.
But you forgot to put them back.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jack. It slipped my mind. You never use a buzzer, so I didn't think of it.
You thought of it when we needed the batteries.
Jack, I tell you it was a mistake, that's all. Look, the Midway's opening up. There's no time to start an argument.
Yeah, there'll be time for that later, tonight. We can talk it over tonight, Cliff.
That suits me.
Come on. Let's lower the box.
All right. I'll go get a new set of batteries. You might as well climb down, slide into the box. I'll cover you when I get back.
I lit a cigarette. My hands were wet and shaking. Suppose he didn't wait until tomorrow night. Suppose this was it. I couldn't tip my hand by refusing to get down, but I had to make sure I'd come up again, just this once. He'd be gone a couple of minutes, long enough. I ducked out of the tent and across the Midway to the pitch of old Anna, the fortune teller.
Oh,
Why are you so jumpy about, Annie? You act like you've been seeing ghosts.
I was communing with other world.
Say that for the suckers. I want you to do something for me. I want you to promise, and I don't want you to forget.
Is it evil thing?
No, Anna, it isn't evil. When we shut down at night, I want you to come over to the tent, that's all. I want you to hang around there until Cliff digs me up, understand?
Beware of lower world, Jack. Evil things lurk there.
Promise me, Anna.
I promise. But let me read your fortune in the cards. It only takes a minute.
There's no time. Besides, you read them for me on the train the other night. Was there something there you didn't tell me? Are you trying to frighten me with a sucker pitch?
There was evil. The death cards were around you. They were all around you.
Shut up, you old fool. Just come over to the tent tonight. That's all I want from you. That's all. I had to grab a hold of myself. A crazy old woman with a deck of greasy cards. I'd been with 10 shows too long to let a thing like that get me. I went back to the tent, got down into the hole, and slid into the box. Cliff lowered the narrow view shaft that the customers looked through. I fastened it to the hole just above my face. Then he started to shovel the dirt in on top of me. I could hear it hitting the box. There isn't another sound like it in the whole world. Then it was all done. Cliff looked down at me through the glass, and the smile on his face made me cold. Then he was gone, and I was alone with the sound of the air pump. In a few minutes, the customers started to come in, and it wasn't so bad. If anything went wrong, they'd be able to hear me through the speaking tube, just as I could hear them.
Oh, come on, Mother. Come on, look at it. Oh, you look. It gives me the creeping whizzle-dizzle. Well, you're the one who wanted to come in. Come on, it can't hurt you. Look, you can talk to him right through this here hootenanny. Well, can you hear me down there?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Is it... Well, are you all right?
Yeah, I'm all right.
See, just like I told you, there's nothing to it. That's all we see for our money? Sure, the whole darn thing's a jip. Well, so long down there. We'll all join you someday, sooner or later. Oh, Dad, what a thing to say. I think they'd give you a little more for your money, though.
That's the way it was. Hour after hour, face after face, until all the faces blurred and ran together. Their voices came down with the same questions and the same disappointed wisecracks. But they kept paying and they kept coming. It was getting on to late afternoon because the crowd was beginning to thin out. Everybody would be headed home for dinner by 5:30, and the gang working on the midway would knock off and go to the commissary tent for chow. At 6:30, the crowd would drift back again. The big crowd with the men home from work. And by the time they were gone, old Anna the fortune teller, my insurance policy, would be standing by, and Cliff would have to dig me out whether he wanted to or not. I was glad to see the crowd go for a while. It gave me the next hour alone to think and plan things out. Then it hit me. The next hour alone. I'd forgotten that part of it. I looked up. There were no faces in the viewing glass. I felt around with my hand, and I found the buzzer button in the ticket cage. I pressed it again and again, but Miriam didn't come. Sure. This was it. They were up there now, getting ready to do whatever they were going to do. Then they'd walk away over to the commissary tent. They'd eat and laugh. Nobody'd suspect them. It'd be an accident. I tried to think of something else. They wouldn't have the nerve to go through with it. And then I knew I was wrong. Because all of a sudden, there was complete silence. Somebody had cut off the air pump. I twisted and turned, and I pushed against the lid of the box like a madman. But it didn't budge. There was more than a ton of earth on top of me. The pressure on my chest increased, and I couldn't breathe. Flashes of red and blue color were whirling around in my head. I looked up, gasping for air. And there was a face staring down at me. A child's face.
See my baby turtle, mister? What are you doing down there, mister?
Kid, get somebody quick. Go outside and get some help. I'm smothering. Don't just stare at me. Call somebody. You hear me? Stop looking at me. Get somebody. He kept staring at me, his eyes wide and frightened. He moved his mouth once, but he was frozen with fear. And all of a sudden, his face was gone. He was gone. I made one last hopeless try at the lid, and then suddenly I didn't care anymore. I relaxed. All the colors in the world exploded in my head, and then they all ran together. There was a roaring sound, and everything went black. I came out of it slowly. The pump was going again. The beat of it keeping time with the throbbing in my head. And they were digging for me. I could hear the sounds of the shovels in the earth. And then finally against the wooden top of the box.
We'll get him out. There we are, and give me a hand. Hey, you all right, Jack?
Yeah, I'm okay now.
All right, I'll boost. Come on, pull up there.
It's all right. Lay me alone. I'm all right.
Hey, Jack, come over to my tent and sit down. There is evil.
I don't want to sit down. Where's Miriam? Where's Cliff?
Somebody went for them to the commissary tent. They will be here soon.
Yeah, soon. but it wouldn't have been soon enough.
Lucky thing I spotted that kid running out of here. He's been sneaking into shows. He saw the air pump motor out and back and turned it off while he was fooling around with it.
You figure that's the way it happened, huh?
Come here. What's the matter here? Jack, what are you on top for? What happened?
Take a guess, Miriam.
There was an accident. Some kid shut off the motor for the air pump.
See, Miriam, that's all it was. Just an accident. Nobody to blame.
Jack, I should have been here.
Yeah, maybe you should have. You could have kept that kid out of the tent. It would have worked out better. Where's Cliff?
Around, I don't know. You could have been killed down there.
That's what I figured, too. I could have been, but I wasn't. Don't worry about it, baby. It won't happen again. It won't happen to me again. It was my game now. I was up walking and breathing. It was my game. I played the tender husband. I wasn't going to show her my cards now. That came later. When she calmed down, I kissed her. Then I went looking for my last answer. The kid who had turned off the motor. There were kids all over the place, all looking the same, the way kids do. But I'd remember his face. You're bound to remember a face when it might have been the last one you'd ever see. Then I spotted him going into the house of fun. I nodded to the ticket taker and went in after him. I caught him in the room with the tilted floors and grabbed him.
Ow, mister! Let me go.
Take it easy, kid. You won't get hurt.
I didn't do nothing honest.
Why'd you turn that motor off?
I was just fooling with it and it stopped, that's all. I didn't know what it was.
Who told you to turn it off?
Nobody. Let me go.
Stop, kid. Tell me the truth or I'll give you a buck.
I am telling the truth.
Tell me. Tell me who told you. Stop biting me and tell me.
I'll tell my pop. He'll fix you. Let me go.
I'll let you go when you answer me.
What do you want me to say, mister?
A man told you to turn that motor off, didn't he?
No. I mean, yes.
All right,
yes.
kid. All right.
And the conclusion of 6 Feet Under, starring Dan Dailey, an episode of Suspense from April 13th, 1950, comes up following these important words when Classic Radio Theater continues.
Are you suffering with arthritis or osteoporosis? Do you have diabetes? Did you know that these are just 2 of the hundreds of diseases that have seen improvement with Dr. Wallach's incredible longevity products? You can't get them at a health food store. The only way to get them is to call us at 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065. Do you have heart disease, fibromyalgia, or high blood pressure? Do you have a terrible time losing weight? Dr. Wallach can help. He was a veterinarian and cured diseases in animals. He felt that he could do the same for humans, so he became a physician. Over 50 years of research and helping people like you goes into every bottle of Dr. Wallach's amazing discoveries. Do you want to feel better? Learn how to treat the cause of your problem rather than covering up the symptoms with drugs. Call 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065.
No offense, but are you a little fat when you look in the mirror? How would you like to learn the secrets to lose 3 to 5 pounds a week easily without joining the gym or going through any crazy diets? It's called Body Sculpt by Med Diet. For the last 2 decades, we've been helping people just like you that have pounds they want to shed. We've helped millions of people lose thousands and thousands of pounds over the years. And now it's your turn. Learn the secrets of how to lose weight with one simple phone call. You'll see an amazing difference in a matter of days. Don't believe us? We'll offer you a money-back guarantee. If you're ready to start losing weight right now, call right now to learn more about your risk-free order to Body Sculpt.
Call for your risk-free offer. 800-738-5332. 800-738-5332. 800-738-5332. That's 800-738-5332.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, the conclusion of Suspense, 6 Feet Under, starring Dan Dailey, from April 13th, 1950.
Here's your $1.
I don't want no dollar. I want to go home.
I went into town and drank until the show closed down, until I was sure they'd all be asleep. Then I went to the first aid wagon and nosed around until I found what I wanted. A can of ether. Cliff was bigger than I, much bigger, and I had to be sure. I soaked the handkerchief in the stuff, and then I let myself into Cliff's tent. He was lying there, quietly. He was sleeping. He wasn't making a sound. I crept over to him and pushed the handkerchief over his mouth and nose. I held it there. Held his face right into it. He didn't even murmur. And when I let go after a while, his head dropped back. He was out. I picked him up and carried him to the pitch tent. I put him down in a box, and then I shoveled the dirt in on top of him. I left the air pump running. I wanted Miriam to see him down there. Him instead of me. Then I could stop it waiting up for me when I went back together.
Well, it's about time you got back. I've been worried sick about you.
Worried about me, baby? That's silly. I can take care of myself.
That accident this afternoon. I'm still shaky.
Yeah, I can see why you would be.
Jack, there's been something wrong with us. Maybe it's my fault. I want to straighten it out.
Everything will be straightened out all right real soon. Come on. Let's go for a little walk.
But it's after midnight.
I know, but I got a surprise for you. Something I want you to see.
What is it?
Over at the pitch tent. Come on. She came. I had to hand it to her. She was playing the act to the hilt, just like nothing was wrong. I took her arm and held it tight. Good and tight, so she couldn't turn and run. And we went into the pitch tent.
Well, what's the surprise? Kind of dark in here.
There's enough light down in the box. Go ahead. Take a look.
Well, the hole, it's filled in.
Yeah. The show has a new star for a one-night stand. Go ahead. Look.
Jack, what? No.
Yeah, baby. Yeah. How do you like it now? That's the way I was today when that motor cut off.
Get him out! Get him out!
Oh, it's my turn to cut the pump off. Only nobody will be able to fix it this time.
No, don't you please.
Sure, I just ripped these wires out and he gets what I almost got.
What are you killing him for? Why?
I knew what you were up to. You'll never take that midnight plane tomorrow. You'll never run away with him now.
I wasn't running away with him. The tickets were for us. You hear me? For you and me.
Well, there you forgot to tell me about it, baby.
I couldn't. Cliff was lending us the money to buy the show. He said he'd be mine anyhow someday. I wanted to do it for you because I loved you. Because I hated what's been happening to you down there.
Why would he want to help me?
Because he loved me, that's why. And he knew you're all I care about. He sent the money for the show to Becker Brothers yesterday, and we were supposed to fly up tomorrow night to sign the papers in Chicago.
You're lying.
No.
Yeah, you're lying.
No.
You're lying or you'd have told me.
Would you believe me? Would you believe anybody? Do something! Do something!
The shovels, Miriam. Where are they? Quick. Help me. Miriam, dig. Help me, dig. And that's it, Sheriff. You'll never know what it's like down there. You have nothing to do but thinking. Well, you get to thinking crazy things. That's why it happened. And when we got to him, he was dead.
I see. Mm-hmm.
If you want to have that typed up as a confession, I'll sign it.
Isn't much good that'd do. That deputy that came in a while ago gave me a copy of the coroner's report. Cause of death, coronary thrombosis. His heart. No strangulation. He was already dead when you stopped that air pump. He was dead even before that, before you give him the ether.
You mean Jack didn't kill him?
Not according to the coroner. Death from natural causes.
Then you're not going to charge me with murder?
You can't murder a dead man, mister. Just like you can't lock a man up for being a fool.
Oh, Jack.
It's all right, baby. You heard him. They can't do anything to me for being a fool.
Suspense. Tonight's Suspense play was produced and edited by William Spear and directed by Norman MacDonald. Music for Suspense is composed by Lucien Morawek and conducted by Lud Gluskin. 6 Feet Under is an original play written for radio by Joel Murcott. Dan Dailey will soon be seen with Ann Baxter in the 20th Century Fox Technicolor production, Ticket to Tomahawk.
April 13th, 1950, Suspense on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Are you in bad pain? You know what I mean. Your knees hurt. Your shoulder hurts. Your elbow and back are constantly killing you. And I'm sure you've tried every pain pill or cream available at the drugstore. Am I right? Well, here's something you haven't tried. Pain Magic. Pain Magic is not available at any drugstore. The only place you can get it is by calling the special toll-free number I'm about to give you. And to make things even better, call right now and find out about our buy one, get one free offer. We're so confident it'll work for you that we offer a free bottle with your purchase. No prescription required. Call now to learn how you can get Pain Magic and get rid of your pain. Remember, your results may vary. 800-492-8164. 800-492-8164. 800-492-8164. That's 800-492-8164.
All right, the wrap-up now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox and Part 5 of the 5-part Yours Truly Johnny Dollar story, The Laird Douglas of Heatherscote Matter. This episode originally broadcast April 13th, 1956.
From Hollywood, it's time now for...
Johnny Dollar.
Ronald Kenworthy, Mr. Dollar.
Good. I want to talk to you. Are you at your home?
I am. And after the
Okay, then stay right there and I'll be over to see you.
Why don't you send the police instead?
What's that supposed to mean?
A few minutes ago in Mrs. Van Pyten's library, before you kicked me out, you practically accused me of the murder of her nephew.
Did I?
Well, didn't you? Didn't you?
All right, Ronnie, just calm down and stay put until I can get over there.
You mean you aren't afraid I might try to take a powder, as you high-handed detectives like to put it? You mean you aren't worried that...
Tonight, and every weekday night, Bob Bailey in the transcribed adventures of the man with the action-packed expense account, America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Expense account submitted by Special Investigator Johnny Dollar to the Philadelphia Mutual Liability and Casualty Company. Following is the final report in my investigation of the Laird Douglas of Heatherscote matter. The whole case started out almost as a lark when I discovered that I'd come to Philadelphia to act as bodyguard to Laird Douglas, and for a fat fee and virtually unlimited expense accounts. Me, bodyguard to a dog. But it ceased to be funny when I learned that the dog's two previous caretakers had been murdered. And when, only a few hours ago, an attempt was made on my life that ended with the death of young Warren Staley.
Yes, Mr. Dollar, I see. I guess I was so upset by the death of my nephew that I didn't realize the attempt was really made on your life.
The second attempt, Mrs. Van Pyten.
What?
Shortly after I arrived in Philadelphia, somebody planted a booby trap in my suitcase in my hotel room.
Good heavens, no. And you think that Ronald Kenworthy did that, too?
Well, what do you think?
Well, yes. Now that poor dear Warren is gone, there's nothing to prevent the Kenworthy estate from achieving control of the Van Pyten holdings. That is, if I were to die.
Go on.
Upon the death of Harrison Kenworthy, the whole financial empire would be inherited by his son Ronald.
So I understand.
Ronald. And he would be the wealthiest, the most powerful man financially in the United States. Ronald, who pretended to be Warren's best friend. Who pretended to love me. It's a terrible thought, isn't it?
Apparently adds up, though, doesn't it?
There is no question of it. But what evidence have you?
None yet.
Well, then I'll help you get it. And I can do it, Mr. Dollar. I may appear to be only a wealthy, foolish old woman who dotes on her pet, Laird Douglas. But I'm not. I'm astute, shrewd, and clever. Since Peter, my husband, died, I alone have managed this estate, this financial empire. I use the word again. With my money, with my... Oh, yes, I can do it, Mr. Dollar, and Ronald will be made to pay for these terrible things that he has done.
I admire your confidence.
Nothing. No one can stand in my way. You'll see. I'm only sorry that a few minutes ago you didn't keep him here, make him face it.
I'm going to see him now.
Oh, where?
At his home. I understand the estate adjoins this one.
Yes. But please, look out for him. Shoot first, Mr. Dollar.
What?
Because now he may act like the cornered rat that he is.
I decided to walk across to the Kenworthy estate in the hope the fresh air would help clear my thoughts. Logical as it all seemed, I didn't like what I just heard. Then luck, pure, unadulterated luck. As I walked across the broad lawn between the main house and the gatehouse, I passed the garage building with its Rolls Royce, 2 Cadillacs, and a station wagon. And then I saw him. Andy LaForte, alias Henry Fortune, alias Andrew Ford, one of the cleverest second-story men in the country, with a record on the West Coast as long as your arm. A man who would do anything for money. He was idly going through the motion of dusting off a car. I walked past quickly, not sure whether he'd noticed me or not. I hope not. For it was one of his ilk who'd had to plant the booby trap in my hotel room, who could have slipped the poison into the liquor that killed Warren Staley. I turned in at the gatekeeper's house.
Mr. Dollar, I saw you at the question.
I want a telephone, quick.
Right here, sir. Is something
Thanks.
wrong?
Operator, get me Central Police, emergency.
Good heavens, Mr. Dollar. Something
The man
else
there in the
happened?
garage, polishing cars.
Andy?
How long has he been here?
Oh, a year more. Ever since the dog show at Valley Kid.
Well, what does he do?
last year. Oh, the driving for Mrs. Van Payton, but something going
Hello? Give me Lieutenant Howard, homicide. After warning the old gatekeeper that I'd have his head if he said anything to anyone about my phone call, I left by the back door and went over to the Kenworthy mansion where young Ronald was waiting for me.
I must say, before we go any further, that I resent the way you ordered me out of the Van Payton house a few minutes ago.
Yeah? Well, I'm sorry.
Whether you suspect me or expect me to help you in this case, it was
Lonnie, you knew Warren Staley.
Very well. We were the closest of friends, confidants.
All right. Just how much did he really care about the Van Payton estate? Fortune, whatever you want to call it.
To put it bluntly, he wanted none of it. And I'm afraid his aunt rather resented it.
Well, why do you say that?
Because her whole life she's been obsessed by an almost overwhelming lust for power. When Warren finally rebelled against this, she tried not to show it, but she hated him for it. Unlike my father.
Oh?
I feel as Warren felt. And my father and I together have been laying the groundwork for dissipating the Kenworthy estate into corporate setups that will benefit many instead of just us. Does that sound strange to you?
It sounds like true philanthropy, if you mean it.
You must believe me, it is, and I do mean it. Oh, I won't suffer, of course. I'll still retain some control here and there, but I'll have to work at it instead of just carrying on the tradition of the idle rich. I'll be a man.
I hope you're telling me the truth, Ronnie. I believe you are, and I'd like to meet your father.
You will. Needless to say, it was much harder for him to break from this tradition of financial power than for me. So perhaps you can see why I admire him above all other men. Anything else?
I'll see you later.
I was worried about you, Mr. Dollar, going over there to see Ronald Kenworthy alone after all that has happened.
Yes, you should have been, Mrs. Van Payton. Especially if you noticed that I passed by the garage on the way.
What?
I happened to notice someone there, and I think it answered a lot of questions for me. It was Andy LaForte.
Andrew? My private chauffeur?
Is that all he is?
Oh, do you know him, Mr. Dollar?
Look, I took on this case, Mrs. Van Payton, because you offered me a fee too good to be turned down and an almost unlimited expense account.
You haven't answered my...
I should have got wise then and there, but I thought your great passion for your dog was just an amusing foible of an immensely wealthy, kind of foolish old lady.
Oh, Laird Douglas is a dear one, isn't he? Why, Mr. Dollar...
Let me add things up. A few minutes ago, you told me that thanks to your wealth and a very sharp, clever mind, you'd let nothing stand in the way of anything you chose to do.
Please, Mr. Dollar, I don't think I understand.
All right. You made a contract with Harrison Kenworthy that you'd marry him when and if Laird Douglas beat that pup of his at the dog show. An apparently silly sort of thing, yet everybody believed it. But the real reason for marriage to him was solely to acquire control of his holdings, increase this financial empire of yours. Very subtle. Kept you looking like a cute, whimsical old lady.
Why, this is the most absurd thing I ever heard of.
So I thought at first, but let me go on.
Oh, please do.
When you realized that Laird Douglas wasn't ready to beat that dog of his, rather than admit defeat, rather than lose the chance to make this marriage, you ordered the murder of the dog's handlers. Then the contract was still in force, just delayed.
I won't listen to such terrible things.
You'll listen whether you like it or not. You learned that Kenworthy and his son were planning to dissipate their fortune and thereby put it beyond your reach.
Mr.
On top
Dollar.
of this, your own nephew, Warren, wanted to do the same with your estate. This was too much.
What you have said is too much.
Then, by the time I arrived, you learned from an expert, Ray Rowland, that your dog would never stand a chance against Kenworthy's. So you wouldn't dare let him compete, at least until you'd hooked Kenworthy some other way. And part of your whole scheme was to build up evidence of attempts against you, through the dog, of course, though I'll bet you actually hate the mutt.
No, that's not true.
Anyhow, from the moment I talked to Ray Rowland, I was only in the way. So you tried to get rid of me. Had somebody booby-trap my luggage.
Oh, you have no proof.
Andy LaForte, this so-called chauffeur of yours, would do anything for money. And I fully intend to break him down and make him admit you hired him as a killer.
Listen to me.
On the second try, the poison liquor, your nephew Warren got it instead of me. Fine. Another obstacle out of your way. After all, he had opposed you.
Mr. Dollar, how much do you want? I can make you financially independent.
Then
for
you
the
set
rest
your sights on Ronald Kenworthy, who was trying to break up the other empire you wanted to get your hands on. You even hoped that somehow I might help you. Shoot first, you said.
You don't understand. I was
Just
only...
what plans you had for his old man and that warped, twisted brain of yours, I don't know. But I'm sure you had plans. Well, lady, now it's too late.
No, Mr. Dollar. No, it isn't too late.
Stay away from that drawer. You'd even shoot somebody down with your own hand if you thought it necessary, wouldn't you?
But it isn't necessary, Mr. Dollar.
Huh?
Are you sure it wouldn't be easier if I were just to give you, say, $100,000 and $200,000? All right, Andrew.
Right here, Mrs. Van Pyke.
Well. Hello, Andy. Got a license for that thing?
Shut up. You want me to do it now, Mrs. Van?
Yes, Andrew.
What if the servants hit a shot? Hold it, Donna.
Don't worry, Andrew. I'll take care of things. Haven't I always for you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sure. She'll take care of things. While you're pulling that trigger, she'll blast you down so fast you won't know what hit you. Make it look like we killed each other and leave her in the clear.
Quiet.
She's got a gun in that drawer beside her, and she'll use it. You hear me, Andy?
I said quiet. What you don't know is that she can't do without me. But we can do without you.
All right, Andy, wait now. Listen, will you?
Now, Mrs. Van.
All right, Andrew. Now.
Thanks, Lieutenant.
Oh, Lieutenant. Then you saw. He was going to shoot down Mr. Dollar.
Yes, I've heard, too, Mrs. Van Pyken. Plenty.
Oh, no, you don't understand. Mr. Dollar had come up here to talk to me. I wanted to offer him a great deal more money for his work for me.
I guess I almost didn't make it. Glad you keep talking to him so long.
Got a cough drop?
Is this body the Abbey LaForge? Oh, shut up!
What was that?
You heard him.
I beg your pardon.
Clever, shrewd, astute. You're just off your rocker. You'd have to be, I guess, to start a thing like this in the first place. Well, I guess by the time the estate and inheritance laws get properly applied, the Van Pyten Empire will be spread around the way Warren wanted it. Expense account item 10, $28.90, fare and incidentals back to Hartford. Total, including fees, $1,113.40. Remarks? I'm glad I'm poor. Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Now, here's our star to tell you about next week's intriguing story.
Next week, an insurance swindle that really backfired. The only trouble was it caught me right in the line of fire. Join us, won't you? Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, starring Bob Bailey, is transcribed in Hollywood. It is produced and directed by Jack Johnstone, who also wrote this week's story. Heard in our cast were Jeanette Nolan, Harry Bartell, Byron Kane, Jack Crucian, Bill James, James McCallion, Ken Christie, Dick Ryan, Bert Holland, Jack Edwards, and Hy Everbeck. Musical supervision by Amerigo Marino. Be sure to join us on Monday night, same time and station, for another exciting story of yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Roy Rowan speaking.
April 13th, 1956. Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Hope you'll visit my webpage, classicradio.stream, where you can stream our shows on demand, learn more about classic radio collecting, and contact me there. classicradio.stream. Please thank this station, support their advertisers, and it's their kindness and courtesy that allows us to be with you each and every time we roll around here on your favorite station. And if you miss a day on this station, you don't have to miss a single show. You can find our shows through iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker, TuneIn, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Amazon, even through Facebook. Just search for Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. That's Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Have yourself a great day. Tell all your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.